we got to learn, we got to teach from our mistakes. And when we teach from our mistakes, sometimes it seems like a harsh reality from to the next generation. Like, oh my God, you're being a hypocrite if I say, well, I don't want my kids to be with a woman with children. Well, you had a kid. That's not, you don't start out bad. You start out good, and you want to teach them a different way of life. But they don't want to see it that way. So
I
I
did the
just
best
say,
I could. I did the best I could is the number one thing I heard from my
mm-hmm,
mother. I love my mother, but no, I don't want the woman that I end up with to be like her. I don't want my daughter to be like her mother or my
mm-hmm,
mother. And I love
mm-hmm,
them both because I did the best I could was the one thing I heard black women say more than my grandmother's. I did the best I could. I did the best I could. I understand teaching from your mistakes, but there's some mistakes you don't have to make. And that's a cop out when you're making these mistakes, knowing that there's no consequences. So now you want to, I did the best. No, you didn't do the best you could. You could have
right,
done better. You could have made better
Mm-hmm.
choices. That makes
mm-hmm,
no sense. And it's interesting. So when I hear people on panels or just hear people in general speaking on the topic that we were talking about earlier, again, connecting to the dots, premeditated pregnancy and reproductive coercion is a real thing. A lot of women are right now, and I'm not saying that men don't have their part in it, are not having children because they want to bring a child to this world. They're not having children because they want to give a man a baby. They're doing it for access and resources.
mm-hmm.
You can, the moment you say you're pregnant, men don't get this same thing. When a man says, "Oh, I'm going to have a baby," whether he's a child, he doesn't get immediate support from all these different organizations, support systems. He doesn't have, the
Right.
moment that a woman says she's pregnant, she gets immediate validation. That's the incentive to say, well, you know what? If I get pregnant, I'm set for life. So
Mm,
ergo, we create this cycle of trauma because my daughter right now is going through trauma. She don't even know it. She has no
mhm,
idea because she thinks her mommy is her caretaker, her giver, her everything, and she has no idea that daddy is fighting for her pro se and spending thousands of dollars in court, and daddy didn't do nothing. All she had to do was lie. But then I hear people on panels like this, like I'm literally
mhm.
fighting with thousands and myself, and I have to fight corrupt courts and my own lawyers who are corrupt against me
Well,
because it's
I'm
all
so
about the
sorry to hear.
money. So
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, all I'm saying is that there's a difference between physical trauma and emotional trauma,
mhm,
and the emotional trauma does not show up immediately. That takes years down the road, and that's the reason why we keep going back to this therapy stuff, because it starts when we're kids.
mhm. Well, I will say this too. You have to value. You have to want the best for your children, right? When you want the best for your children, you cannot want the best for your kids and not implement that father. It's just not going to work. And unfortunately these some women are extremely selfish, and they don't think of the damage that they're doing when they restrict the fathers from their kids life. And that's the very sad part. I hate that you're going through that. Thank God. I thank God me and my ex-husband didn't go through that. But I do hear the horror stories where women are stripping men from their from the kids life. I can raise them by myself and stuff like that. You're doing so much mental damage to your child. If you have a daughter, she's not going to know how to get along with a man. You ain't teaching her that. If you have a boy, you're not going to teach her how to treat women right or get along with a woman. You have to be, the perfect example is from the parents. And even though me and my ex-husband, we did not work out in a marriage, but our kids saw me never alienating him, never said, "Oh, because you can't pay me child support, you cannot see your children," because I knew the value of time. When you understand the value of time, forget the money. Where's your time? Come be with these kids. Come chastise them. Come give them to work for you in the summertime. Those are things that, and when you have a baby by a woman who don't value time, you're gonna get all that, because she don't give a crap about you. She almost don't even care about the kid, to be honest with you. She only care about the money, and that's the very sad part. And then a child has to suffer. That is the worst thing a child can do, is suffer. And then you're gonna have to take the blame for it, because now your daughter gonna grow up thinking that you weren't trying to be in her life, and now so it's just a hierarchy. In fact, I know when White said he hate that word. That's a different word that I use, the hierarchy. Um, so now it's going to play down on the child. So, and I do hate that for you. I really do. I wish that more courts, this is the thing. Usually, and I know, I'm not sure what state you in, usually when a man fight for his children. He usually do get at least visitation, but full custody in a smaller percentage of them. So we got to get the courts to stop favoring women as much when they're not showing that they're the better parent.
There's 8 states that by default go to 50-50 joint custody for both parents. It's only 8 of the 50 states start with that.
When like, I don't know, when me and my ex-husband got a divorce, of course, like you
If
said, it
you
was
don't mind me
automatic.
asking, are those liberal or conservative states?
It was conservative because I was in Alabama. It was automatic. It was automatic 50-50. No matter what, when we went to court, it's automatic 50-50. We just agreed on who's going to be the primary caretaker responsibility. Since he worked 2 jobs, it was better if I had the kids. So that was it. And then child support also was split. Like we looked at how much it's going to take for daycare. They took and split it. It was my responsibility and his responsibility as well. It wasn't that he had to pay $800. He had to pay $400, and then I had to come up with $400 because that was the kid's needs. But those things should. It does go back to who you marry. It goes back to who you marry. I promise you, it does, and or who you have kids with. Again, if that woman don't value time, she don't give a shit about the father. She don't give a shit about the kid. That's just my honest opinion. I don't care if you can pay child support or not. Come over here and pick these kids up because your kids need you. They need you no matter what. I saw it. The kids hate their dad. My kids live with their father for years, not just months, years. Because that was his job. They worked with him in the summertime. That's
How
why
do you feel about the women that we see in clips that go viral for like dropping the kid off when they catch the man at the barbershop or at work because he doesn't want to be held accountable or responsible?
Nothing.
I said that earlier. Drop the kids off with him.
So how do you feel about the fathers that don't want to be the fathers?
I
See,
think
that's
How we feel about those people.
I think they can get the death
It
penalty.
goes back. This is the reason why I said earlier that when women, we got to understand the responsibility that we have, the weight that we carry when it comes down to motherhood. We do carry majority of the weight. That's never going to leave. And because you are taking a chance of this man bailing out on you and not taking care of his kids. You still have to do the best that you can do to be a mother to those children. Regardless, you have to do your best. But
I think
again,
that's a cop out, lady. I have to give it just a little bit of pushback, and the reason why I'm saying that, not to interrupt you, but because I think that's the problem that women, and you say some really good points. I'm not saying you particular. I'm just saying in general. I think so when I was in the hospital when my baby was being born, me and the mother weren't together at all. We weren't together. We weren't together when she got pregnant. She decided to get pregnant when we were breaking up. So it was a move the whole entire way. I was a part of everything. A part of that. The point I'm making is that in the hospital, her mother, that reminds me a little bit like you, but you ain't nothing like her. You are actually a positive person. But her mother was saying things like, you got to take care of yourself. You got to do it. You got to take care. You got to do it for you. I'm in the hospital with these people and you got to take care of yourself as if I wasn't there. So when I hear things like that, what you're saying, it's the weight is on the mother. No, it's not. See, that's the problem. No, it's not. It's on both. It should be on both. That's the when women.
Well, it should be on both, but you're 100% correct about that. But my point is, a woman still is taking a chance with a guy, as Miss Shawnee saying, bailing out on her. That's just a fact. A woman, you're not that way, but that is a chance that a woman take. Now, yours was forced. Because she didn't want you to take care of the kids. She was all about the money and whatever her mama done sound like it was a good setup. But I do have to go back to this right here. Why was this somebody that you felt the need to stick your pin in?
So that's another so people change. I think it's kind of interesting how we want men to be held accountable.
You know what?
We do. We want men to be held accountable. We hold ourselves accountable. What we just said. Most men are I shook my head. I nodded when he said, "Hey, men are losers." So it's funny how he said that. I didn't get no attitude. I didn't feel no type of way. I was like, okay, we are. So we told ourselves accountable. But then in this situation, y'all want to double, triple dip in the cookie jar. Well, you put your penis in there. You did this. You did it. Okay, we already hold ourselves accountable. So how come we can't say, well, we thought this person was who they said they were, and they just changed? I'm supposed to control everybody, and then she has the choice.
No, my show. I think the only thing that you kind of skipped over though.
Hurt. He hurt, bro.
When Mike,
with a guy and she sleep with a guy, a woman say the same thing. There are women that say I was engaged to this guy and this guy bailed on me when I was pregnant. So it goes both ways. It truly does. That's why I was asking you.
But what he just said didn't go both ways, because even in his statement, he kind of just placed it on her, because he said they were on their way to breaking up and she decided to get pregnant. The statement kind of like negated the fact that you also acknowledged y'all were on your way to breaking up, but you chose to ejaculate in her.
Well, Maestro, was she on birth control to your knowledge?
Yes.
And she stopped taking it?
So didn't you just say earlier that sometimes we don't need to explain stuff to some because they're not gonna get it even when you you know what I'm saying? So yes, she was on birth control. And she somehow she wasn't on birth control.
If a woman is
gonna piss me off.
No, Shanice, if a woman is, because I was gonna hold him accountable if it's just a situation, because when he said she decided to get pregnant. Well, in reality, if you ejaculated in her and you was having sex, then it's always a chance she can get pregnant. However, if they had an understanding that she's on birth control and then she stops taking the birth control.
That man wants to have a baby with that girl. I can tell by his shirt. Don't piss me off.
I will say this here. It sounds like you probably worded this.
That baby. You can see his eyes. He desires to be a father. Don't do that.
I will say this here.
She made a choice.
What? He not even sitting at the camera, Shanice. How you staring in that man's eyes like that?
It sounds like
she had birth control. Did you have a condom?
It sounds like you
right.
She said she was on the birth control pill. But I will say this: either she wasn't taking it properly, because the birth control pill is 91% effective. So the birth control pill is 91% effective. So either.
Take these comments, be messy. Take these comments off the screen. I'm over here rolling. They said, Maestro, you can't keep your woman.
You know they gonna be.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. So this is the first time.
But I will say
look,
this.
Wait. I want to say this. I really want to say this. Most of the time, I cannot stand y'all in the comments, but it's really a big shout out to y'all tonight in the comments, because y'all done ate up each single person on this panel. I done seen terribly mean things about each single person. So it's been very fair tonight. I appreciate that.
They always get me in the comments. What you talking about?
Y'all don't look like y'all comments. Y'all be talking a lot, but y'all don't look like y'all comments.
No, Lady O, they don't. They don't be fair in the comments every night. A lot of times it'd be like they'll have one-sided towards the women, or like one-sided to like they calling all the men panders. But tonight, when I say these comments done ate up each individual person, I mean like they done got on everybody's ass that done came up here. I love it. I love it.
I don't think y'all. I just don't think y'all. Some of you're not listening. I don't think you're listening. I don't think you're listening. I just don't think it, because